Welcome to our Really Good Bot tutorial video, where we will be importing each of these models into our empty Fusion file here. You can imagine it's a lot easier to design the 3D printed parts for a bot if you already have, for example, the microbit in your model and the motor in the model, so you know how large to make all the holes. And so then you can line up the screw holes to this microbit motor driver that we see here. See this part here, and the servo motor as well. So let's import those models. You will need a folder called 3D models with all of the 3D models in it. These have been designed by other people, so I've included a credits file so you can see where they came from. And I'll include a link in the description so you can get this zip file. So download the zip file, extract all of the files in the zip file, and make sure that you have this folder on your computer. Okay, I'm going to stop this spinning right here. There we go, beautiful. Now let's start importing these models. I'm going to start with the geared DC motor. So I can go File, Open from my computer. There are two here. There's one with a double shaft and one with a single shaft. If you let this go spinning for a little bit, you can see this motor has a shaft that goes all the way through both sides so that both wheels spin at the same rate. So we need a double shaft. You can double click on that, or you can click on Open, and then it's there. Excellent. But this isn't in our original file. We want everything together. We don't want to have a whole bunch of separate files. So how can I move this component into this file? Good question. I'm glad you asked. If you right click on this component, so you've got the whole model, whole assembly, and you've got this particular component called geared DC motor, you can right click and go copy. Now you can go into our empty file, right click and go paste new and go OK. We can do the same for all of the other components that we will need. Open from my computer. Let's do the microbit assembly. An assembly is a bunch of components all joined together. You can see the assembly, for example, has a whole bunch of resistors and USB port, and what else has it got? LEDs. So it's everything all together. I'm going to collapse this so we can just see the microbit component. The same thing, right click on the component, copy, go into our empty file and paste new. But there is one of these that is trickier than the others. I might move this out of the way. There we go, okay. The one that is trickier is 8mm ball bearing. Let's see why. File, open from my computer, 8mm bearing, open. Looks the same, but we don't have a component. We only have individual bodies. A body is a solid shape that's all connected, like this is a body. But a component is often a bunch of bodies joined together and sort of grouped together as one component that makes sense. For example, what's a good example? This button, the button part and this together would probably all be one component, even though really it's two bodies. So, another example is that all of these bodies together have been grouped together to one microbit component. But the 8mm ball bearing just has bodies. I like to work in components, and to do that, we click on New Component. We give it a name. Let's call it Ball Bearing. OK. And now this component has nothing in it. You can see all of the bodies here are not inside the component. So we can click on body 1 and then shift click on body 10 and then click and drag on one of these and drag it into ball bearing. Now ball bearing is a component that contains all of these different bodies. I'm not just doing that to be neat and tidy, although it is important to use components to make your model neat and tidy. You can see how they've done that really well in this microbit assembly. They've named everything so it's easy to find. If you click on antenna, then sure enough, it highlights the antenna. A lot of advantages. You know, you can right click and isolate to just see the antenna. It's really, really useful to use components. But the reason I want to do it here is because you can't actually copy bodies from one file into another file. So now that we've got everything in a component, we can right click on the component, go copy, go in here, right click, and paste new. You can move it out the way. To move it out the way, I would recommend using these arrows, just so things are a little bit separate, and then go OK. Cool. So continue in the same way. What else will we need? We will need the motor driver board. So I'll copy that. And shazam! Pop it right in here. And I'll move it over here. Good. And is there anything else we need? I think I need a servo motor. Ah yes, the SG90 micro servo. 9 grams. That is very small. Open. Good. This one, you can see they're all different components. So let's make a new component called servo motor. Again, click on the first component, shift click on the last one. That will select all of them. And then I can click and drag into servo motor. Now I can right click on servo motor and go copy, go into my microbit, my empty file, right click and go paste new, and move that out the way. Are there any components that we'll need? No, I think that's pretty much all of them. Cool. So now we've got our files imported. Our next step will be to start attaching them to each other. All right, see you next time.